Samantha sat at her desk, looking at the clock. It was a long day filled with meetings, and she felt a sense of accomplishment as she wrapped up her final report. As she shut down her computer and gathered her belongings, she smiled to herself, knowing it was time to call it a day. This wasn't just the end of her work shift, but a conscious decision to embrace a balance between work and personal life. This is your host, Danny, and this is English Plus Podcast. Call it a day is a popular English expression used to signify the end of a day's work or an activity. But as we explore the various layers of this seemingly simple phrase, we find that it's more than just a way to mark the end of an effort. It's a philosophy that permeates different aspects of our lives, guiding us towards satisfaction, fulfillment, and balance. Consider, for instance, the story of James, a promising young athlete who dreamt of making it to the big leagues. James's days were consumed with training, practice, and competition. One day, his coach noticed that James was pushing himself too hard, risking injury and burnout. He approached James and suggested they call it a day. The decision was more than just about ending practice. It was a lesson in understanding one's limits and recognizing the value of rest and recovery. James's story illuminates the wisdom embedded in the phrase, reminding us that knowing when to stop is as vital as knowing when to push forward. In the realm of relationships, the saying also resonates with profound meaning. Emily and Robert, a couple who had been married for decades, enjoyed working on projects together, from renovating their home to planning family gatherings. They had a tradition of celebrating the completion of a project by raising a toast and declaring, "Let's call it a day." This ritual wasn't merely about acknowledging the end of a task. It was a celebration of partnership, a recognition of shared goals, and a moment to savor the joy of accomplishment. The expression also finds its way into the world of arts and creativity. Lucy, a talented painter, would spend hours in her studio, lost in her imagination, bringing her visions to life on canvas. Her mentor, an accomplished artist, taught her the importance of knowing when to call it a day on a piece. He explained that an artwork's beauty often lies in its imperfections, and overworking it could take away its soul. Lucy's story is a reminder that the phrase transcends the workplace, guiding us in our creative pursuits, teaching us to appreciate the delicate balance between effort and ease. In the sphere of education, calling it a day takes on another dimension. Mark, a dedicated teacher, was known for his passion for helping students succeed, but he also knew the importance of balance. At the end of a successful class or a fruitful mentoring session, Mark would often tell his students to call it a day and encourage them to enjoy their leisure time. For Mark, this was more than just a way to end the day, it was a lesson in holistic living, instilling in his students the understanding that life is not only about work and achievement, but also about relaxation, enjoyment, and personal growth. The phrase also finds its roots in historical context. During World War I, soldiers would use the expression to signify the end of a day's battle or duty. This historical use adds a layer of depth to the saying, connecting it to a sense of duty, honor, and the human need for respite and reflection. In the corporate world, the concept of calling it a day takes on strategic significance. Elizabeth, a successful entrepreneur, built her business on a philosophy that embraced not only hard work, but also the wisdom of knowing when to pause. She encouraged her team to call it a day when they felt productive and satisfied rather than pushing them to work long, exhausting hours. Elizabeth's leadership style is a testament to the modern application of the phrase, where it's seen not just as a way to end the day, but as a tool for building a positive, balanced, and efficient work culture. Even in our personal quests for self-improvement, the saying has relevance. Tom, who was on a journey to lose weight and get healthy, learned the value of calling it a day when it came to his diet and exercise regime. Instead of obsessing over every calorie or pushing himself to exhaustion, Tom found success in moderation and balance, understanding that health and well-being were not just about extreme efforts, but also about knowing when to take a step back and appreciate the progress made. As we traverse the various landscapes where "call it a day" finds its meaning, we realize that it's a phrase that speaks to a universal truth. It's about acknowledging our efforts, celebrating our successes, understanding our limitations, and embracing a philosophy that values balance, contentment, and human connection. Whether in the world of sports, relationships, arts, education, history, business, or personal development, call it a day is not just a way to mark the end of something, it's a guidepost, a wise friend, a cultural touchstone that reminds us of what truly matters. In a world that often pushes us to do more, be more, and achieve more, the simple act of declaring, "I'm going to call it a day," becomes a profound statement of self-awareness and self-care. It's an affirmation that we are enough, that our efforts are worthy of recognition, and that there is grace and beauty in knowing when to stop, rest, and savor the moment. So the next time you find yourself immersed in work, lost in creativity, or pushing toward a goal, remember the wisdom encapsulated in these words. Embrace the philosophy, listen to its guidance, and don't be afraid to call it a day, knowing that in doing so, you are honoring not just an end, but a beginning, a doorway to a life that is balanced, fulfilled, and richly human.